moving to the last but not the least important topic, as we have heard already, the childhood and school education for the circular economy is really something what is of key importance, particularly because we can learn so much from this new generation. And now when we are facing what has been mentioned at the beginning as well by David, so the education when it is digital is very different than when it is traditional, and what our kids are facing nowadays is also that in front of the screen instead of doing what is here nicely pointed out with the picture, so experiencing things together. So we have the speaker now with us, Armida Torregiani. She has a degree in chemistry and PhD in biochemistry, and is a senior researcher at the National Research Council of Italy. She has a long experience in education and dissemination activities at middle and high schools, and is the project coordinator of Raw Matters Ambassadors at Schools, the flagship program in the wider society learning segment of EIT Raw Materials, so involving so important strategic partnerships between school, university, research, and industries from 13 European states, exactly what we have been mentioning all the time, how important this collaboration is. So she's also the leader of a national program for students and contributes to many EIT Raw Materials projects. In collaboration with Climate Kick, Smart Place Schools, that is something what we should check for sure, the platform for education on circular economy in high schools, and other education projects. So in 2018, she was also one of nominees for the EIT Awards 2018. Regarding the EIT Public Award voting, she finished second out of 38 nominees. So congratulations also on that. That good practices and the leaders like you are recognized. So congratulations.
Oh, but okay, no, thank you so much. It was really a different experience. Also, this nominee. Okay, so good morning to everybody. It's great to be with you today. So before speaking about school education and circular economy, I'd like to spend a moment to reflect about the meaning of skill. So what is a skill? If you look at the definition of skill from the Cambridge Dictionary, you find that a skill is an ability to do an activity or job well, especially because you have practiced it. So skill is an ability normally acquired by practice. So this definition is very relevant because it links the knowledge acquired with the practical use of it. Thus, if we want to enhance the educational processes, it's essential to involve schools because we have to start early. We have to work with children because they have to have time to do practice with the knowledge that they are acquiring. And so we can develop also new skills. So if we want to introduce a circular economy concept at school, we need to work both with students and teachers. So the collaboration among researchers and schools actors is essential. So the first key point is to open a dialogue with school, in particular with teachers, in order to co-create a learning pathway for students. And in the learning pathway, begin with the why it is important, this topic, why it is close to them, make understand the complex issues that facing our economy, our society in general. So in a few words we can say give motivation, provide motivation to students and to teachers. So this concept is well summarized by a proverb, that say you can lead a horse to water, but you can make it drink. That means you can offer great opportunity to do something, but you can force to take them if they doesn't want to. So the first is motivation. Then link the circular economy concept with the current curricula developed at school. The circular economy framework actually fit well with many subjects developed at school, for instance, economics, geography, science, in particular chemistry, physics, and earth science, and so on. And get real by showing student how the subject that they are learning, that they are studying, can be useful in the real life. So this means to break the borders of the different disciplines and to contribute to the creation of a T-shape thinking among students. So this is very important for the future. And for example, if you want to link the circular economy concept with science, you can, for example, involve students in an experimental activities. For example, in a chemistry lab, you can show how keratin can be recovered from wool waste and how it is possible to use this protein for cleaning water from heavy metal, or how it is possible to obtain bioethanol from waste paper, and again how to obtain phosphorus from waste waters. Or you can show a strategy used in food waste management that consists in obtaining bioplastic from vegetable discarded materials. And this bioplastic can be a good substitute of those obtained from fossil sources. Another possibility is to use another methodology, not the learning by doing, but the gamification methodology. In the framework of EIT raw material, we develop a game called EcoSEO, It's Your Business, that is in a card game, an interactive game, suitable for classroom. And the game showed the impact of linear and circular business strategies on the performance of one company. And since because in the game there are two phases, one focus on linear economy and another one on circular economy. So the players act as a CEO of a company developing electronic goods such as microchips, smartphone, and e-bike. And the mission is to build the most successful company. So the players have to make decision on resource management because the resources are limited, and on production processes and the revenue model that can be applied. So we can say that in a funny way, they learn about strategies such as recycling, reuse and repair activities, and, for example, product and service systems. Then another key point is to shift from information to engagement. So we need to provide more engaging experiences for everyone. For example, in the REMA school project, that is the project that I lead, all the students are introduced, in this case, on a topic related to raw material sector, but anyway, any case, are introduced on the scientific topic. Then they are involved in a lab experience, and then all are asked to create something on what they have learned. So all are asked to become science communicators, we called young ambassador. Okay, and briefly we can say that they become a multiplier of knowledge. So the student can act like multipliers. For example, some students decide to develop their own science project and set up an experiment that can be useful suitable for peers or for younger pupils. Others decided to become science communicator by creating dissemination products such as videos, comics, or electronic products such as Facebook pages. Or if they work all together as a class, they can develop a website on the topic that they have faced. Other students decided to develop, for example, a serious game like this group that created this game called Rosico, Material Around Us, that is a board game where that resembles the famous game called Risk, and where the winner has to complete some devices card by looking for the element all around the world. And China on the map is blacked out because the game simulates a world where China has closed completely the borders. So the worst scenario for all of us. Then students can also act as ambassador during a public event, collaborating with the researchers. For example, the last year, RM School was able to give a contribution during the European Researchers Night in 11 cities all around Europe, as you can see from the map. And in this case, I'd like to underline one aspect. So that could be a good strategy to link some activities with other successful initiatives already existing, because this could enhance the impact of your action. Another experience that I want to share with you was already done the last here. We were able to set up one stand in a very big science fair in Germany, and this stand was completely tutored by Italian and German students. So it was really a great experience, and really an engaging experience for all of us. I can say all us because I were with them. Okay, so to engage youngster means also to engage families and citizens. So I think this is one of the strategic aspects of the learning pathway with schools. Okay, because if you show the negative consequences of the current lifestyle and inform on alternative that can be used for changing also the habit, and engage pupils, they will act as ambassador also in their own family, in their own school, in their own local community. So they can play also a role, for example, in a waste prevention action, because they can be of help in changing a little bit the habit in families. Then finally, it's also important the international sharing of good practice. So every year we organize an European conference for school where almost 500 of students are involved, and during this conference students have the chance to explain directly from the stage what they have realized in the framework of the project. Okay, and also this is a very engaging experience. As say at the beginning, as regard the teachers are key actors of this process. For example, for linking the circular economy concept with the official curricula developed at school, because of course they know what have to develop during their courses. And so it is important not only to engage them, but also to empower teachers by and also to support them to adopt this different approach to science education. For example, by providing them different tools, some tools that they have not already in their hand. For example, digital tools or also experimental tools, some protocols, some experiments that are focused on circular economy concept. Then it is necessary to set up train the trainer programs, because if we want to empower teachers, we need of this kind of program. And it would be great also to obtain for this program an accreditation, so teachers could acquire additional credit by taking part to this workshop, to these courses, like happened with some courses also of REMA school that obtained the official recognition by Italian Ministry of Education, and this year also by the Slovenian Ministry of Education. And finally, it would be important to increase the sense of community in them. So it could be great also to create a teachers network, also by providing some chance to meet together. Once we were able also to do this in a REMA school by organizing an international training workshop in Berlin, and it was a very successful experience because it was useful for identifying problems that have to be faced, to be overcome, and success factors, and share good practice. So I can say now, how is the organization of this learning pathway? It's challenging, yes. Time consuming, yes. Sometimes frustrating. Exciting, yes, and absolutely beneficial. So now I'd like to share with you one video, very short video, 1 minute, because I'd like to show directly what the student trained, also young students, are able to do for the society. So please, if you are able to share, I finish with the presentation.
Yeah.
The audio is really bad. Oh, okay. It's a pity it doesn't work very well, but we have on our YouTube channel, as I've said that David asked on the chat. So maybe after I can share the link, and if you want to spend 2 minutes to see. If you have not understood, I'm very proud of, of them, no? And yes, okay, because it seems that this method works quite well. Okay, so thank you for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you, Armida, for your I would say that it was like an elixir now after with this energy. And what we have seen, I would just like to say that it was so good to see what are those entry points or touch points, as you showed now in the video. So it is a school and it is university, and these are conferences, but public spaces. And that is what we are lacking now, because we don't have access to that, and we do not feel that this is actually part of our daily life. So
Yes.
I think that this video is going
Yes,
to
yes.
be very important.
Yes, in fact, I think this is the challenge. As already said before by the other speaker, by the other that have participated, the challenge is to connect, to make speak together different target, you know, and try to find also to construct a learning path together with the contribution of the university, with also with the companies, if it is possible. No, sometimes it's enough to contribute for a small part. No, so also it's not so time consuming, maybe also for a company, but could be a great experience also for students, because they understand that is important what they are doing at school. That is something that can be used. Sometimes they have the feeling that, oh, but this is not so important, oh, this is boring, no, because it depends on more much from also the capability of the teachers. Not all are so good also in involving students. So but I've stopped myself because before I've not spoken never, but now I've if I start, I don't stop myself. So now I want to leave the space for other. Please.
Yeah. Thank you. Please don't stop. Never ever. This kind of energy. And now we have questions for sure. I saw here we have something from Raniera. Maybe you would like to add, because you mentioned also some webinars, and maybe we can exchange your experience.
Yes, yes, we can. Yes, we can exchange absolutely the experience, because this is something that came out from many years of work with schools, and so I think it's important. First of all, listen to the schools, listen to the teachers, and don't feel them alone, okay? Because otherwise they are absolutely afraid to face this kind of new scenario. Now, because a researcher, a professor in the university is used to do research, so research means every day to face something new. But for a teacher, this is something that can scare. Now, so we have to support them. There are different kind of support. Maybe we can also simply support by giving them tool, but we have also to organize some workshop to teach how to use this tool. No, and it's nice.
Yeah, it's so nice to see someone who is so passionate about the work that you do. And since I don't see any questions right now, I will use the opportunity to ask you, how do you see now in these COVID times that that kids and students can be engaged, you know, with maybe their households or local communities, because there is opportunity.
Yes,
sure.
Yes, absolutely. Actually, this is really a very difficult moment, in particular with the school, because teachers are so busy in trying to develop the official programs, no? So at the beginning, they don't want to change anything. They don't want to do anything new, because they are afraid not to have time to complete their program. But they have also some of them have understood that if they involve in a different way, of course, because now we have to do something at distance. But if we involve students in this kind of learning path, actually they are more motivated also to studying their subject. So it's something that is not time consuming for a student. It's something that can provide motivation to study. So now what we are doing, we are reshaping everything. So for instance, we are developing some experiment that can be done at home, for instance, or we can send like boxes at school, and we can guide the classroom to do this experiment at distance. Or maybe we organize some webinars, trying to also to include some active participation, for example, by using some tools like Kahoot or something other digital instrument that can allow a little bit of participation. Actually, we miss a lot the chance to stay together. I think this is something that can not be substituted. but anyway, we can be close to school anyway, and yes, and we need to do something for them. Yes.
Thank you for yes, for all these ideas. And now we have Claudia, then Reneira and Ignacio. So first Claudia.
Claudia, prego.
Ciao, hi everybody. This is Claudia Giordano, University of Bologna, and I just wanted to ask to Armida, as I did in the chat, about how many schools did you succeed engaging with your projects, and where in Italy, since we run a project of circular economy related to food. And one of the issues that we faced in the interaction with schools is that we had a massive interest from the schools around us, so around Bologna, because I'm in Bologna, and in the region Emilia-Romagna, which is always supportive and interactive with the university, but we had almost no interest from the southern regions of Italy, or less interest. So this is my first question to Armida. And the second point is to the platea, so to everybody. Italy, for many years, didn't have civic education teaching anymore. And so some of these teachings that we said are interdisciplinary were actually put inside the programs and the curricula of geography or science or history in a random way. So we have an education on circular economy, on sustainability, that for many years was randomly, actually. So up to the teacher, up to the school, up to the region where you lived. Now, since 2019, we have again a law for civic education, is the law 92 of 2019. And it foresees 33 hours a year that are like concentrated, they are focused mostly on sustainable development, and this and Italian constitution and the digital education. But the first pillar is the Agenda 2030. The point is that also in this case, the political will of focusing on Agenda 2030, so also on circular economy, was, how can I say, was referred to one particular minister. So it's related again to the political will or sensitivity. So how can we, this is a question for everybody, how can we ensure that the circular economy, the Agenda 2030, disrupt the school programs, so they enter systematically in the curricula development and not thanks to the sensitivity of some teachers, some school, and some ministries? Thanks.
Yes, thank you very much for your question. Okay, allora, the first question, how many schools? Okay, I think if we speak about schools, we can speak about 80 schools all around Europe. But if you speak about classes, are maybe you count one school, but you have 8 classes. So we can say the last year we reached among 5,000 of students that work with us. These are the students that develop a learning path with us. So the students that become the science ambassadors. Okay, then there are the people reached during the event. So for them there is another kind of involvement. Okay. And so it can be a great impact. Yes, and as regard the other question, of course, if other want to contribute, please. My vision is actually some points are already present in the curriculum of the school, but they don't realize that are already present. Okay, so they don't pay attention. The educational system, especially at school, is really low. So if we want to introduce something new, it's really a long process. But if we keep going in strengthening that something that is already present can be presented at school in a different way, also by looking at the more suitable sustainability and circular economy vision, maybe we can have success in a shorter time. But please, if others want to say something, this is a very big challenge. So, okay.
So thank you everyone invited, as we have heard. So to participate or to share the practices and the tools that you have. So this is of great value. And now we have, I guess, Reneira.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, thanks. I just wanted to expand a bit on the bit that I put in the chat, because with COVID-19, and we've had real challenges around getting circular economy into formal curriculum, and we're suddenly presented with a situation where every child across the world was off curriculum.
Yes.
And developed this webinar series for 13 to 18-year-olds, which, like I said, we had 900 students from 68 different countries participating, and we're really blown away by the quality of work that they did. And also we managed to get sort of challenges that they could do at home on their own, get them submitted. So it was a really successful model. And our challenge now is, now that kids have gone back to school, how do we keep up that level of off-curricular engagement in an online and digital world, whilst also still trying to keep, to further get circular economy into the curriculum? And we've had success with the International Baccalaureate, with United World Colleges. We're talking to the Welsh primary school curriculum developers about getting circular economy at primary school level. But it is a slow beast, and it's often down to enthusiastic teachers or enthusiastic schools around how much they engage with this kind of off-curricular kind of fun and exciting and engaging stuff. And it remains a challenge that we have as well. I know we're working with
a challenge. Yes, you're absolutely right. Now it's the challenge. The first step is to obtain their trust. Now, for instance, when the first time that I speak, that one of the object of the end part of the learning path could be to realize an educational game, teachers look at me, oh my God, but this is something that is not traditional. What is not something that can be useful for them. And then the result say other things. So in this period, we have to reshape everything, because at least in Italy, we are not allowed to enter in the schools at the moment. So if you are not employed at a school, you can enter. So we have to do this at distance, okay, at distance. And so we are trying to find some way to develop any way the learning path, for instance, by improving the dialogue also with student. Normally we we are going to speak essentially with the teacher, but now we are asking to speak with the student directly, okay? And the challenge is to start, because when you have the chance to start once with one school, then they are happy and they keep going to ask and they want to enter in the project, because I think it's a way to make them feel Europe close to them. And this is an important message that we have to send to them. Yes.
Thank you. And now Ignacio.
Thank you, Ladeya. First, thank you, Almida, for the presentation. Very interesting. You already know that I'm a big supporter of education for circular economy at the schools. This is, for me personally, this is one of my priorities, because I really believe that this education for circular economy at the schools is not only for the future at all, it's also for the present.
Yes.
Because we have to consider that students are also consumers, and they consume a lot. And it's important to change the way the students or the children consume. And they also are wonderful amplifiers of circular economy concept of families. So for me, it's clearly not only for the future, it's essential also for the present. Thank you.
Yes, Ignacio, you are absolutely right. And I have also heard some very good example of this experience. And so I think sometimes we undervalue the work with the schools. Maybe we think that could be not important, but actually it's important. And it's important that researchers, professors of university also sometimes work with the school. They can do this alone. We have to be together, no? Because we have a different vision from the people that is working in the school. And I want to say something about the social media. Now, before we have spoken a little bit about social media. Social media are something that is absolutely known by teenagers. So it's the channel of communication that we can use a little bit more, okay? But also this is a challenge, because it's not enough to share something on YouTube. We have to speak their language, and it's not easy. It's not easy because they use this social network in at least a different of me. They are very used. They are very comfortable with this kind of things. So also if we want to use this channel, we have to learn how to speak by using this channel, because it's a different communication way. Yes.
Thank you for this valuable remark. Before we already touched the question of this new narrative, but then it's also about languages that we are speaking. Yes. So it's important what kind, not only of words we are picking up, but how do we pack the message? So
exactly,
really, so that the others can resonate.
Yes. Yes, I think that the language is important. Also, during the first speech, this aspect raised up when David said that sometimes people think that it's the same to do lesson in presence and online. Okay, it's the only difference is a camera that are looking at you, but actually is the language, the way to communicate is absolutely different, and this is a great mistake that is also doing, for instance, at school, not only at the university, no, because We have to use a different way to communicate. Yes.
So communication skills, because we humans do communicate, they're essential as well. And now we go to Milena and then Claudia and Giordano. So Milena first.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Ciao, Armida.
Ciao, Milena.
Wonderful to see you here. I have to say that I'm here because Armida was a kind of big mentor for me. So she inspired one of my first projects. It was e-mining at school. It was related to the electronic waste at the school. I had the opportunity to work with some of Armida colleagues, very good, very passionate, like Armida is. And I would like just underline something that is also in my experience. We need to transfer to our partner the value, okay, of this of our project, and we need to also understand what could be the value for them. So it's some of my colleagues that are more related with the startups call this the value proposition of the partners. So this is something that we need to keep in mind when we try to involve partner in project. Not just partner, but also the people, real people, because it's good to have researchers in the project. They have different values. They participate for different reasons. Okay, so, and we need respect these differences. So a company can participate in a project, in education project for different reasons. Maybe because they are hiring, maybe because they need to have a social marketing. So we need to understand what is the reason why a partner can be involved in the project. This is why if you are able to understand the motivation of the people, you are able to engage them successful in the project.
Yes. Yes, absolutely agree. I agree with you. Okay, and yes, we have to take what the other can offer, no, and say, okay, it's also if it is a small contribution, could be relevant. So absolutely, like in a puzzle, no, all together. So
yeah, thank you. So if we do not understand the other one, and if we cannot identify it with his or her challenge and interest, then nothing can happen, because we are overloaded with everything. And sometimes within this circular economy bubble, we think, oh, everyone is so enthusiastic as we are, but that's not true.
Yes,
so,
yes.
Yeah. Now we are going to Claudia.
Yes, it's again me, sorry. So
okay. No, not sorry.
I was trying to sum up the answers that I read in the chat and I heard from you about my question before. So we are proposing like a sort of bottom-up solution from experts from circular economies and university in the communication with schools. So peer-to-peer relation, and not a communication to the ministries in order to introduce such teaching in a mandatory way. So this is my final question. We prefer the option bottom-up.
Yeah, we prefer. I think, okay, this depend on the country. For instance, in our experience in Italy, was better to have the approach from the bottom to up. Okay, so starting with the school, with the peer-to-peer action. In other countries, maybe work better to have another kind of approach from the top down, and I think we have to try to push this aspect, I think from both approaches, okay, because we don't know what can work better. But anyway, it's important to start and to have something in our hand to show some result. You know, also if they ask to at the top level to provide some more information, some more result, we have already in our hands, and so we can say yes. If you do in this way, then we have less problem at the university for following the courses and yes, some results. Starting, I'm an experimental researcher, as you can well understand. I'm starting from the data, from the result. Okay.
So now Giordano has a question or a comment.
It's always Claudia Giordano. That's my surname. But if you want, I have no, I'm kidding. I don't have other questions.
Someone else willing, sorry, to ask something?
Yes, I have a question. It's Dave here. I'm sorry I'm going to get all academic again, but I don't read much of what's known as the pedagogic academic literature. In other words, the journal papers from the field of education. Are there, does anyone know on the call, are there journal papers, pedagogic publications that are written on this topic of circular education? I don't know.
No, I have not done a really well done research on the literature. Maybe something could be also present, but I think it's so transversal, it's so multidisciplinary that is not present in this form. Maybe you can find something, but again connected with the some particular disciplines, not on the general topic. Yeah.
No, but I'm not explaining it very well.
No.
So for example, in higher education, in universities, there is pedagogy in teaching and learning in higher education. And there are journals. And actually, the journals do divide into specialist topics like teaching engineering or teaching architecture or whatever. But there are more generic journals as well, which are teaching and learning in higher education. I can't name them because it's not my specialty.
Okay, don't worry.
I know they exist. And it'd be the same in school education. So secondary education, primary education, you would have journal papers that are written. I know University College London, for instance, has a specialist school on education.
So I think you can find or some paper on the theory. Okay, so on the methodology, how to involve the classes. For instance, you can use this kind of methodologies, problem solving or learning by doing, or you can find or something that is a focus on the theory, on the methodology that you can use, or you can find something really connected with a specific topic. For instance, if you want to teach chemistry by involving more the student, you can do in this way. But is something specific with the subject, with the this is something new. Okay, I think what we are trying to do is to mix different expertise, this different methodology in the same pathway. This is why this work from my point of view, because we are working with one class. Okay, in a class you have some people that maybe is really interested in science, go on at the university in this direction. But in the class, maybe you have also people that maybe decided to do something completely different. So how to engage all? If you use only one methodology, it doesn't work, no? Because if you use only learning by doing, so only if you propose only one experiment, you don't catch the attention of all the class, but only from a part. So after the experimental activity, we try to involve them in the dissemination work. So we try to emerge also other kind of pupils. So I think the mix not only of the topics, not the subject, but also of the methodology could be a good strategy to obtain a more engagement of the class. But this is my experience. Yes, it's limited. Now it's not. I'm not. Yes.
Well, I think what I was trying, maybe I didn't explain it very well. What you've just been describing is what you've experienced in the case study that you've been involved in. And that's highly valuable. To be blunt about it, in the world of universities and schools of pedagogy, where education is understood in depth, it's not taken seriously until there is journal publication.
Yes.
Until there is journal publication. So, for example, your experience and your case study, the slides you just showed me, for me as an academic, I would sit there and think, that is a brilliant case study for a PhD to do research on, then publish a series of journal papers.
Yes, that's right. But because you are a professor, you are an open-minded person. So we need of this kind of person. Absolutely, yes.
But that's the way universities work. And until it's in a journal paper series, until it's accepted in the journal field, to be blunt, professors don't take it seriously. They just say it's just a hobby.
Yes, exactly. This was the first step.
Yeah, it's a first step to do something. You do something first as a case study, and then we can get somebody to. But I don't want to do that because it's not my specialism. But maybe within the KICs, we can find colleagues in the university partnerships where we can find academics who have specialism and can take that job on and work with you and write up your case study and find other case studies across Europe or across the world.
Absolutely.
You can write them up and publish them.
Yes, I think that this was why I've decided to show some example, because sometimes if you want to do something, it's better to start from an example that you can modify, you can make better, absolutely, but you start with something in your hand and say, okay, this can work, this other part can be substituted and improved, or and so. This is why I've sought to share my experience and not to speak only in general. No, yes, exactly. But yes, it could be absolutely great if we are able to write and also to publish, because we need also the official recognition from the scientific community. So we have started, but it's not easy. I'm a chemist, so this is another language. Also, to write this kind of paper is a challenge for us. Yes, okay.
Okay, so thank you. We will slowly wrap it up. So the last question or comment, and then we will go to the final conclusions. So please, who is willing to share the last thoughts? Felix, please. We cannot hear you, Felix.
Yeah, I didn't ask for the floor, sorry.
Felix, we can hear you.
You can or cannot?
No, cannot.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, a little bit. Shout, please.
I didn't ask for the floor. It will be Julie Fionda, according to...
Okay, then sorry, your name appeared on the screen, so we thought that you are the one who wants to share something.
This is funny. Okay.
You know, random, the names are popping up.
My name appears on the screen since hours.
Okay.
So it's all according to program, okay?
Okay.
Okay.
No problem. So anyone else who would like to say something? No. Okay.
Yes.
Then,
Okay.
yeah. Then
Yes.
I would like to